I will now call to order the Wytheville Town Council meeting, Monday, October 28th, 2024, 5 p.m. at the Municipal Building at 150 East Monroe Street in Wytheville, Virginia. We do have a quorum. We'll now stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, led by Councilwoman Holly Atkins.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, next on the agenda is actually approval of the agenda. So I'll need a motion.
So moved.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion and a second. Is there any discussion? I hear none. This will be a roll call vote. Mr. Gilman, please.
Gilman, aye.
Patterson, aye.
Taylor, aye.
Atkins, I'm going to abstain. I was out of town.
This is for this agenda.
Oh, I'm sorry.
It's okay.
I'm sorry.
You're good.
Atkins, I'm sorry. I apologize.
Johnson, aye.
Okay, I'm sorry, I didn't hear you. Going forward, we can have a recess at 6 p.m. or somewhere there near if necessary. Next is the consent agenda, which includes the minutes of the regular meeting of September 23rd, 2024. This requires a motion.
So moved.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion and a second. And now, Ms. Atkins, you want to abstain for this?
I do. I jumped the gun on that. I apologize.
That's okay.
Yeah, that's me.
All right.
Thank you.
So a motion and second. And is there any further discussion? All right, here none. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye as well. Any opposed? All right, that motion passes. Next is public hearings, requests, resolutions, or council decisions. We have a public hearing to consider the various appropriations to the fiscal year 2024-25 budget. And before we open up the public hearing, we'll hear from a presentation from Mr. Freeman.
Thank you, Mayor Taylor. I feel reasonably certain that none of you are here for this, but if you'll bear with us, we'll get through some of the more mundane aspects of local government, and in this case being a budget amendment for the current fiscal year. On the screen are the proposed, basically this is the background information that is sort of the backing for the amendment. The last slide, the third slide, will be the actual amendment itself. I know that the committees have looked at this, the mayor's looked at this, all of you understand what's here, but for the benefit of those with us and those who may watch the videos later, I'll just kind of walk you through them briefly. First line there, first account was donations for fire department. We budgeted about $2,500. Chief Slimp has solicited some additional donations for some very specific things. One of those being a leadership training that will happen in the spring. Is actually supposed to take place on or about the same week that the storm blew through. Many of the first responders in the region were unable to attend, so that'll happen in the spring. But since we've received those donations, we want to go ahead and appropriate those for that event. Grant for fire protection is an annual revenue stream we received called Aid to Localities. This is from the Department of Fire Programs. We got a letter here a little while back saying we were going to get more money than what we'd been getting in recent years. So that line went up about $8,500, $84.49.20. The big one here you'll see is use of reserves, which is a transfer, basically a transfer to the wastewater fund. That money will come in as revenues. Basically, we have to pull it out of general fund reserves, put it in as a revenue in the general fund, and then appropriate that fund from the general fund to the wastewater fund, and you'll see that down in the appropriations. We get down to the appropriations, of course, the training that will come out of the donations, then also some uniform purchases for additional turnout gear. As we move through staff, we need to outfit our folks with new turnout gear. You'll see the aid to localities equipment is an exact match to the grant for fire protection. The transfer to other funds is $1 million for the wastewater fund, which I'll elaborate on a little more in a second. You'll see that we're talking about taking the museum connector sidewalk project out of this budget, and there will actually be a potential action item for the council later in the agenda. 20th Street Bridge repairs for anyone living on the other side on the north side of, the south side of 20th Street Bridge. You know that for over a year we have been without 20th Street Bridge, but we are closing in on making these repairs. And then, of course, the professional services for the deck and railing design that had to go into the railroad's bid set. So that's all things you all know about, but for those here that'll help a little bit. If you'll click to the next slide, Ron. Water fund appropriations, we did have someone run over a fire hydrant, and then we did get an insurance recovery for that. We do have, as you'll see in water fund appropriations, we do have a hydrant replacement account where we go through more routine replacements, but this doesn't typically, we hope not to cover situations where someone's run over one and had to replace it. So we'd like to reappropriate that money.
Can I just say real quick, Mr. Freeman?
You may.
And I think I already did, but I just want to make sure that hydrant has already been replaced.
It has.
Okay.
That's correct.
I just remember you done. Thanks.
And so that comes in as an insurance recovery, and then we just put it back into the hydrant replacement account for appropriation so that they can proceed on with that program. Transfers from other funds. This is where the water sewer fund is receiving the appropriation from the transfer from the general fund. That is $1 million to put in the sewer fund to deal with damages from Helene. For those who don't know, the wastewater treatment plant saw significant damage to 2 clarifiers that has them completely out of operation right now. As you all know, we're working with engineers to complete an assessment of those clarifiers. We are currently renting 2 temporary clarifiers and the associated pumping and that sort of thing at about $50,000 a month indefinitely. So the wastewater fund will have to have revenues to get through that period, whatever that means. But, right now this is enough to get us through the current budget cycle. And as you all know, we're exploring every avenue through FEMA, USDA, and others to get recover these funds. But nonetheless, we need to have these appropriated to authorize expenditure. Sewer fund appropriations, basically this is the breakdown of how the $1 million is proposed to be spent. Professional services is going to be for clarifier design and also the preliminary assessment that's going on right now. Lease of equipment is the big one because of the $50,000 a month expenditure for the temporary clarifiers. Repair and maintenance supplies, other operating supplies, and materials and supplies, quite redundant, but that's various things that are needed to get the temporary clarifiers in place. Basically, we've got to grade some pads and do some things there. So that's for the piping and the pads and that sort of thing. So if there's any questions, I'll be happy to answer them, but I think that pretty well covers it.
Any questions for Mr. Freeman? So I will now open up the public hearing to consider various appropriations to the fiscal year 2024-25 budget. Is there anybody in the audience that is here specifically to address this public hearing? Is anybody? Seeing none, we're going to go ahead and close the public hearing. Now council will consider to amend the fiscal year 2024-25 budget to include various appropriations. I need a motion.
So moved.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion and second. Is there any discussion? All right, hearing none. This will be a roll call vote. We'll start with Councilwoman Johnson, please.
Johnson, aye. Atkins, aye.
Taylor, aye. Ellison, aye.
Gilman, aye.
Aye. That's unanimous, and the ayes have it. Thank you very much. Next on the agenda is to consider the request of Mr. Doug Cooley for traffic control on Monday, November 11, 2024 for a Veterans Day parade. Is there any presentation by Lane Holton? Thank you.
Good evening. In your packet, you have an application submitted by a representative of Spiller School. The item is 8B in your packet if you'd like to reference it. The application is for a Veterans Day parade on November the 11th, 2024, beginning at 9 a.m. And this application did go through the Safety and Events Committee, and the Safety and Events Committee did make a recommendation to Town Council to approve the request. if you have any questions, I am here to answer any questions that you may have. Thank you.
Anybody have any questions?
This is also, I think, sponsored also with the town as well. It's a combined, from my understanding.
So I did clarify that with Miss Rosa Jude, who does sit on the Wall of Honor committee, and her response was that the Wall of Honor committee has been asked to assist with this parade and the event, but the parade and the event is actually driven by Spiller School. So does that answer your question?
That's fine.
Okay, thank you.
All right, any other questions or concerns? You hear none? I need a motion.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Motion second. Is there any further discussion?
Mayor Taylor, can I vote on that since I serve on that committee?
I think so.
Okay, just want to make sure I didn't something wrong. Thank you.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? You hear none? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye as well. Any opposed? The ayes have it. Next is a discussion regarding declining Virginia Department of Transportation, i.e. VDOT, funding for the Museum Connector project. We'll have a presentation by Mr. Freeman.
Thank you, Mayor Taylor. As you all know, and others will soon learn, the Museum Connector Sidewalk Project was a Virginia Department of Transportation, TA, or Transportation Alternatives Grant project. It included the improvement of about 1,500 linear feet of sidewalk associated crosswalks and curb replacement along Tazewell Street and on Spiller Street along the northern perimeter of Withers Park. TA grants typically take 2 or 3 years to complete after the grant is awarded due to the administrative requirements of the program, which include consultant procurement, environmental review, right-of-way phase, construction plan review, and then, of course, the bidding and construction phase. This application in particular was submitted in 2020, and the town was awarded the grant in 2021. The initial cost estimate for the project was $650,040. However, due to COVID-related town budget constraints, the project has been delayed for approximately 2 years. Since then, construction costs have escalated sharply. The most recent VDOT cost estimate, which we are beholden to, by the way, for the project has increased to $965,400, with VDOT unable to provide any of this difference. This means that what was once a $650,000 project with a 20% local cost share of about $130,000 is now a $965,000 project with a 46% local share of $445,000. It is recommendation of staff that due to unforeseen project cost increases and other high priority needs at this time, that the council consider canceling the Museum Connector TA project. To do so, the town will need to send a letter to VDOT notifying the grant administrators of our intent to cancel. This cancellation will not reduce our ability to apply for future funds. We have verified that with their staff. They understand the situation and have said that I believe we could even submit this project at a later date should it be the desire of council to do so, and then potentially still get the 80-20 grant with 80% grant with 20% match. So it's our recommendation that you all decline the project at this time.
Any questions for Mr. Freeman? All right, so I will need a motion for town council to decline the VDOT funding for the Museum Connector project. I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion and second. Is there any further discussion? Right here, none. This is a roll call vote. Mr. Gilman?
Gilman, aye.
Patterson, aye.
Taylor, aye.
Atkins, aye.
Johnson, aye.
That is unanimous. Going forward, consider using emergency procurement procedures for the repair of 2 clarifiers at the wastewater treatment plant. We might have some information by Assistant Town Manager Holton.
Okay, so in your packet, you have information on this item. It's under 8D. As many of you know, and as Town Manager Freeman alluded to earlier, we did have significant damage to 2 clarifiers at the wastewater treatment plant. We had 9 inches of rain over the course of those 5 days, the 3 days preceding and the 2 days of the weather event. The wastewater treatment plant was inundated by floodwater from Reed Creek, and after the storm event, town employees cleared the debris from the clarifiers, and that's when they discovered the damage. At this time, with 2 of the clarifiers out of service, the plant's treatment capacity is cut in half, and the town immediately contacted our largest wastewater producer to reduce sending wastewater to the plant. This is a great majority of the reason why we want to move as quickly as we can to get the plant out operational again. And as Town Manager Freeman mentioned earlier, we are in the process now of using 2 temporary clarifiers. So tonight, in essence, what we are asking Town Council to do is to take an action to give us the ability to do an emergency procurement. And as you all know, in our emergency procurement policy, we issue a statement of emergency procurement. You'll see that in your packet. This statement goes on our town website and essentially defines the need for the emergency procurement. So we hope that you will support this recommendation and we can issue this emergency procurement this evening. And that way we will work diligently to get our 2 clarifiers operational again. If you have any questions, myself or Town Manager Freeman or Billy or Andrew from our public utility staff is also here to answer any questions that you may have. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Holton. Now, Town Council would consider by Town Council to approve using emergency procurement procedures for the repair of 2 clarifiers at the wastewater treatment plant. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion and second. Is there any further discussion or questions or concerns that need to be answered? I hear none. This is a roll call vote, and we'll start with Councilwoman Johnson.
Johnson, aye.
Atkins, aye.
Taylor, aye.
Patterson, aye.
Gilman, aye.
That's unanimous. Moving forward, to consider rescheduling the Town Council meeting scheduled for Monday, November 11, 2024 to Tuesday, November 12, 2024 due to the Veterans Day holiday. Jerry, did you want to say anything or need to say anything to that? Okay. So consideration by Town Council to reschedule their meeting date on Monday, November 11, 2024 to Tuesday, November 12, 2024 for Veterans Day. I need a motion, please.
So moved.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion and second. Is there any further discussion? Right, here none. This is a roll call vote. Mr. Gilman?
Gilman, aye.
Patterson, aye.
Taylor, aye.
Atkins, aye.
Thank you all. Next on the agenda is a presentation by Town Council of a proclamation and a rocking chair to a very special person. Whereas the Town Council of the Town of Wytheville, here seated, desires to express its appreciation for the service of Michael G. Stevens to the town of Wytheville. Whereas Michael is deserving of notorious recognition by the Town Council and its citizens. And whereas Michael was hired June to September 1982, working in public works and public utilities. Was hired June 1983 to March 1984, working in public works and public utilities. Then, on March 25th, 1985, Michael was hired. Town clerk. Whereas Michael served the town continuously for 39 years. And whereas Michael has worked diligently and faithfully in providing services to the citizens of the town of Wytheville. Whereas the town council, to the proclamation of esteem, respect, appreciation. Now, therefore, do proclaim that the town council, town of Wytheville, officially commends Michael G. Stevens for his outstanding service. Be it further proclaimed, town council extends our best wishes. Witness hereof, I have hereunto set my hand, caused the seal of the town to be affixed 28th day of October, 2000. We're going to take some pictures of the family up here, your staff up here. And we all know make your shit come there. Hands in the way. Yeah, really. Sorry. That is part of the deal.
You be the first one to rock.
Oh, look at that.
It's like freeing up. It doesn't seem like. Hurry up!
No, let's see the mayor keep doing this. Someone's gonna go back.
Congratulations.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Mr. Stevens. All right, moving forward on the agenda. We will now have a presentation by representatives of Salt and Light regarding a splash pad in the town of Wytheville.
Oh, hold on. Not yet. Okay. All right. Good evening, everyone. I'm Caitlin King, and I'm here with Genevieve Ritter and Brittany Williams. Together, we make up Salt and Light, a nonprofit dedicated to creating a united community and encouraging youth involvement throughout Wythe County. We're incredibly grateful for the chance to present to you this evening. Over the past several months, we've been working tirelessly, driven by the vision of bringing something truly special to our community, and we are so excited to share this with you. By the end of our presentation, we hope you'll be just as thrilled about the idea of a splash pad as we are. Now, without further ado, we'd like to hand things over to the real stars of the project, the kids. Okay.
I think he's gonna ask you some questions about it. I'm excited to hear what you thought about that.
I am Colton Cardell and I'm 9 years old. My name is Palmer and I am 8 years old and Hi everyone. We are Salt and Light. We are in Wytheville, Virginia, working to make spring salt and light to our community. We are asking for you to bring a splash pad. This is it. What is a splash pad? It's just like, it's kind of like a water park, but like you don't swim pretty much. Some has concrete and some has like pattern, so if you fall, it won't hurt you. Well, if you don't want to go swimming, you can still get wet, but you don't have to swim. Splash pad is something with like water guns, water coming from the ground. It has a bunch of water guns. You can squirt people. It's a pad that has water on it. If you don't like swimming, you can go to a splash pad. And also, you can still get wet. That's fun.
We had an opportunity to visit Carroll County Splash Pad. While visiting, we interviewed their Parks and Rec director. Let's hear what he had to say.
So my name is Kurt Teal. I'm the Director of Parks and Recreation here in Carroll County, Virginia. And I've been the director here since January of 2024. Per day, roughly about 80 to 120 people per day. Obviously, those numbers change based upon the weather, but on the hot days, probably between 80 and 120. I think one of the biggest socioeconomic impacts it has is bringing people to our local restaurants. So we have a lot of restaurants that are, in close proximity to Recreation Park. It's a big attraction to Carroll County. People really, really enjoy coming to the splash pad. They come here to eat lunch. They come here to socialize, bring their kids, have birthday parties. One of the big things that people look at when they move to an area is what kind of recreation amenities does that area have. So I think that the splash pad is part of that. And obviously, education and all those other things are part of it as well, but people want to find out what they can do with their kids. Absolutely. I think the splash pads are becoming more popular, as the years go on. I think right now they're a little fewer and far between. So, you do have to travel to some of these things sometimes. And before we had one, we had to go other places to be a part of those things. So I think Wytheville County having one would be, it'd be fantastic. It's always going to be great for the local community to have something like this. I think the splash pads add a lot of value, and they really, really excite your community and your community members. Again, my name is Kurt Hill. I'm the Director of Carroll County Parks and Recreation. Feel free to come by, enjoy the splash pad, introduce yourself. Our office is right here on site. We look to have you part of our recreation park.
Now that we know what a splash pad is and the benefits to their communities, let's ask some questions to whom it would truly benefit the most. The kids.
Have you ever played on a splash pad? Yes. 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 Yep. Yes. Yes, I have. Yes. Yes.
Yes.
What have been some of your favorite things about the splash pad you have been on? I'd say the buckets and the water. The buckets of water jumping on me. Buckets and slides. Big tall slides, the water guns in the bucket. My favorite thing about splash pads is the bucket and the slide. The buckets, the water guns, and the slides. The big slides and the bucket. Slide there. How would you feel about having the splash pad here in Wytheville? That would be amazing. Most of the time, people have to go like 2 hours or 1 hour away to go to one splash pad. I feel pretty good because that could be one of our school trips, and I feel like that'd be really fun if that would be one of our school trips. Yes. I love that because you have to drive a long way to go do fun stuff. That's pretty good. Very good because we don't have to drive as far. It would be awesome. You don't really have to drive that far, or you could even walk. And I feel amazing because we could have a splash pad just right beside the pool, and I feel great about that. If I don't have to go swimming, I could just go to the splash pad and get dunked on. We want to put it in Withers Park, where the bleachers are. What do you think about placing it there? Yes. So I can walk to it. It'd be good just for the people to go there and just get outside and have some fun. It's better than nothing. Well, it's right in the center of Wytheville, and it's near schools, and it would be a good place to walk to. Good idea. That's a good idea. Yeah, it's a very good idea. And it's really close to our house. That'd be pretty awesome. I have cross country practice there, and like after I'm done practice, probably gonna explain it. What would make Wytheville's splash pad the coolest and most amazing splash pad ever? That's a hard one. If it had some very tall slides. Probably by like decorating it nicely. Like our water thing is already up a water balloon. The bucket should be up in a hot air balloon where it just goes up and then falls down out of the water. Big slides, like really big slides. Very big slides. And little kitty area, maybe? We already got the bucket. So maybe one of those places, maybe a little wooden boat where you could take pictures. Do something like that. Watch pad.
3, 2, 1. Why do you like splash pads?
Yes.
Say splash pad.
Yes.
Say splash pad.
Splash pad.
Say it again, loud.
Splash pad.
That's the energy we're looking for.
That is amazing.
It was amazing.
Great job. Great job.
Amazing. Good job.
We know you make important decisions for Wytheville, and we think this splash pad would be a great one. It's not just about having a place to cool off on hot days, but a place where all families can come together, hang out, and make friends while having fun.
Wytheville is already a great place to live, but a splash pad would make it even better. It would be something fun for both people who live here and families who visit. Plus, it's free, so everyone can enjoy it. And when more people come to play, they'll also visit local shops and restaurants.
So many people in the community are excited about the splash pad. We've already gotten donations and lots of support from families and businesses. Everyone thinks it will help make Wytheville an even better place.
We brought pictures. We brought pictures to show you what the splash pad could look like. They are made by Mr. Steve Moore. And they show the splash pad design and how it will fit in the Withers Park. We hope you like how it looks.
We really hope you'll help us bring the splash pad to life. It will help make Wytheville a happier, healthier, and more exciting place for everyone, especially the kids. Thank you so much for listening to us today.
In closing, Withers Park has been a vital part of our community for generations, serving as a backdrop for countless memories and gatherings. By adding a splash pad, we can enhance this cherished space and create new opportunities for joy and connection among families and friends of all ages. We hope to make this a destination park where families can come not only for a splash pad, but potentially a new playground, pickleball courts, and other recreational activities. A destination park will draw visitors from outside our community, boosting local businesses and fostering a sense of pride in our town.
This project represents more than just a recreational facility. It's a platform for teaching our children essential lessons in leadership, teamwork, and the importance of giving back. Under the guidance of Mr. Steve Moore, our kids have learned what it means to be engaged community members, and their involvement in this project fills us with pride. In honor of Mr. Moore, we would love to name the splash pad after him, More Fun with Water. We envision the splash pad as a vital investment in our community's future, a safe, enjoyable space that fosters connections and enriches the lives of our residents. We respectfully ask for your support to make this vision a reality.
Will you stand with us in this effort? We are seeking a commitment from Town Council to fund this project and take the necessary steps towards development. This splash pad will not only serve recreational needs, but will also complement the Main Street initiatives and promote economic growth in our downtown area. Together, let's create a welcoming environment that encourages play, community engagement, and the overall well-being of our town. Thank you for considering this important investment in our community's future. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Does anybody have any questions?
I don't have any questions, but I would like to thank you all for the time and the effort that you put into this. I'm moved to compassion because I love kids and I love for kids to be happy. And this is something that could make the kids in our community very happy. Somewhere for them to go and enjoy themselves and for moms to connect and, you know, to be able to meet children from other places. You all put together an amazing presentation and the splash pad, I'm just blown away. It's amazing. So I'm speaking for myself and I will support a splash pad. I don't know about anybody else, but this town has supported a lot of things, but this is something that we can support for everybody. So thank you, thank you, thank you. I appreciate you.
And I'm sure somebody else might have some comments. There's nothing right this evening for us to vote on, but I think if anybody else wants to kick in with any comments or anything as far as this goes.
I love their enthusiastic, your alls as well as the kids. It's overwhelming and it's a good feeling. Okay. I know very little about splash pads. In fact, I've never been to one. So I got a couple questions. I'm pretty ignorant about it. How many months out of the year would this be in operation?
It's usually open from the same time that the pool would be open, but if we chose, you could leave it open actually a little longer, just when it's warm. So
the hours of operation during the day would be sort of the same as what the pool hours might be? Is that what you're saying?
you don't need a lifeguard to man it. So
That was my next question.
Yeah.
Do you need lifeguards?
Yeah. There's no standing water, so you don't need a lifeguard.
Okay. All right. What do you have for parents? What are they to do while their kids are there? What activities are you going to make it to where they can sit and read? They can't get in. Oh, is there an age limit for? Is there an age limit to get in this splash pad?
No,
Ask
there
Mr.
isn't.
Moore.
Yes, ask Mr. Moore.
Need to take her to Carroll County.
Yes. Yes.
No age limit?
No, ma'am. No age limit. But also, as you can see in the photo, you'll see that there's shade structures for families to sit under. And when we take in our children, those shade structures have been vital because sometimes we don't partake in getting wet, but it's nice to have a cool place to sit and keep an eye on our children. We know they're safe within the fenced area for those splash pads that have the fences. And as you'll notice, ours does. It does make you feel very safe to know that your child can't just run out on the other side. But as you see, we were able to do a picnic under the shade, and it was so nice to be able to get all the food out while the kids were playing and then have them come eat whenever they got hungry.
Very good. I'm impressed.
I think it was amazing. I will go on what Candace had said, and it was just totally amazing. I just didn't even think it was going to be this great. So congratulations to all the children and the moms and dads that had to help put it together. I think there's a lot of excitement in the community. As somebody said on social media, you had a lot of things going on there. So, I think each one of us may have our own commitment, but as a council, we're not at the point where we need to going to vote. We don't know what it's going to cost. We don't know if it's going to fit in that. You know what I'm saying? So keep up the vibes, keep up everything, the good stuff. I would love to see one here. I think we've heard a couple others would love to see one here. So you guys did a great job.
I'd like to say something over here. Who did your video? That was amazing.
Corey Parker at Mountain Cab.
I know
He does an amazing job.
He does an amazing job. And Mr. Moore, I appreciate all your time that he's taken on this, as well as working, listening to your all's concerns and everything like that. And I love the name. I think that's fantastic. Like I said, because I believe he's probably donated a lot of time to that, and you all as well. And I know, as Mayor Taylor said, we have not, we're not going to vote on it yet, but I'm 100% behind you all. Great job. Great job.
Thank you all for the opportunity.
Yes.
Well, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Come back and sing for us anytime.
I have a question for council, not a council for question, but a question for council. What do we need to do to, I know we have a committee, and I would like to get moving and see how much it's going to cost and what it's going to take to make it happen for our community.
I think that's a good idea. And we also need to know what we don't know. We need to find out what our list is going to, be before we bring it back to council. So I agree going ahead and getting a.
We actually have a process that would be
Go right ahead.
So the total price is $1,664,892.51.
There you go.
Yes.
And I think we did, from my understanding, we finished, I think, fairly well last year.
Okay.
From my understanding.
Amen.
But I am glad that you did do the 4 shades, because when I did go to visit Carroll County, I think they only have 3. So I know that they suggested they wish they had had 4. So I think that's great for the shades. So great job.
Any other questions, concerns from council? Thank you all again. Appreciate it. Now, next on the agenda is a presentation by Town Treasurer Angela Pennington regarding a delay in distributing Town of Wytheville real property and personal property tax tickets. Ms. Pennington. It is a hard, so you don't have to worry about it because there's no way.
Talk about taxes now. Okay. I do not have a file from the Commissioner of Revenue. They said that real estate is close, but they are still working on some issues with personal property. I have talked with the Commissioner of Revenue and their IT department, so they are aware of everything I need from them. So we do have all that set up. I would ask you all to possibly start thinking about extending the due date. Because once we get the file, we'll have to apply tax credits, and with the new software we have, there may be some glitches that we run into with Edmunds. So hopefully by the next council meeting, we will have more information for you. At least have the file to start working on it, but it might be something y'all need to consider extending the due date.
So when will we need to do the council do the extended dates?
Well, I'll talk about it more at the November meeting.
Okay.
Hopefully I'll be further along in having more information so we can make a better decision.
I assume the county's same issues.
Yes, ma'am.
Mayor Taylor, if I may, I might suggest that we spend a little bit of time in committee over the next couple of weeks talking about the extension. And it might behoove us just to go ahead and make an extension at the next meeting so we can get the word out on that. And even if you have to extend it again, but maybe we can have an agenda item for the November 12th meeting to go ahead and grant some type of extension. And then if you need to extend it again, because we don't know when we're going to get it. So, but we know that it's imminent, that it's going to be late. So.
I do have a couple questions. I didn't know if they would be allowed overtime to when we do get the information. Will they be able to have? Can we give them like permission to have overtime to work on this?
If we think we're going to need it, I mean, we'll certainly do whatever we need to do to get it taken care of.
I mean, for it to extend. And then I know that there's an option, and some citizens may not know that they could still go ahead and prepay. Is that correct?
Yes.
They could still prepay. And I didn't know, I know back years ago and some concerns that citizens had over the years about it being in December with, Christmas and holidays and things like that. Didn't know if maybe council or the committees want to talk about maybe changing the due date for good besides, giving extension this time and then maybe next year. Didn't know if maybe we could look at, a different date extending the taxes instead of just, a few days or a week or something like that. Is that something we could look at doing? Maybe in possibly February or something like that, March, since we're going to extend the date. That's just something to consider.
Maybe we can consider
changing it permanently.
Bringing it up at the same meeting that we're going to be.
Okay. I mean, I didn't know if budget and finance may want to work on that.
I do like is there a particular reason why taxes are due in December? Is it just because it's the last month of the year? Does anybody know?
No, why they chose that?
Because
they have to have the book.
they have to have the.
I'm sorry, the commissioner is supposed to have the tax books to the treasurer by September 1 of each year. With the county and their computer system and all that, I mean, that's what the law says now. But so the next acceptable is December due date. So.
Okay, okay. All right. So would, if you changed it to February or March, would that mess up anything or no? I know past years where the systems have been messed up, they have extended the due date to, I think, what, March the 5th or something like that, and given people an opportunity. I just don't like to see citizens strapped in the month of December, especially people that have kids. Yes, people can prepay, but we really don't know what people's situations are. And I don't like the fact that it's due in December myself. I would like to give our citizens some sort of breather to where they're not trying to, enjoy the holidays and pay taxes too. Everybody has different situations and circumstances financially. And I think that if our council can help out with that, I think it would be great. But we would, like you said, we need to meet and discuss, to make sure that we are within the Code of Virginia and the deadlines that have to be met. So, but I really am not too fond of the December. I'm not, just not for December, because it makes things tight on people.
Do we have to be on the same schedule as the county? Do we know?
I wouldn't think so, because ours used to be due the 15th,
Yeah,
I
and
believe.
then they changed it to
We
March.
changed. I just didn't know if we could look at maybe a February date, and then I know that gives a little bit of 2 months, and then get on some type of cycle, but just go ahead and change the due date. Like I said, I know that has been some citizens' complaints over the years.
Angela, if a citizen has trouble paying, do we have a payment plan action that they can pay payments on their taxes in payments? Do we have any such?
No, we don't really have anything set up like that in place. But if they need to make payments, then they can. I don't know that we'll take off the penalty and interest necessarily, but I guess that's something we can discuss.
If they can prepay early, isn't that right? They can just
Yeah,
start
and
the
in
next
normal situations, they would go out in October, like pretty early in October, and they'd have till December to pay them. So they had a pretty good amount of time to pay them. But we just kind of had issues the past few years where it got pushed back and software systems. And all
Angela,
that fun stuff.
last year, the town lost $60,000 in revenue because of a problem with the Commissioner of Revenue, didn't get some files loaded. Do you anticipate us losing that kind of revenue again?
I have no clue what they're going to send us yet. Because they did change a lot of stuff with the personal property assessments and how they assessed. And I think they did a lot of manual assessing this time. And so we don't know what we're
answer to that until.
Yeah, I don't know what I'm dealing with
end
until we get the
the closing.
file.
Well, let's just hope we don't have that same problem. Because 60,000 is 60,000 that we lost last year.
Yeah.
Can you elaborate on that? And give me a clear understanding.
It was
of how we lost
cars. It was vehicles, Mr.
So
Stevens.
you wrote it off, or
they didn't load so many vehicles. So many citizens in the town of Wytheville didn't even pay for vehicles.
Yeah, they didn't get assessed in Wythe County or town.
And Wythe County as well. So they lost money as well. Not just the town of Wytheville, but Wythe County lost. Files just weren't loaded correctly or weren't loaded, period. So
yeah, I don't know how many supplements we had to do last year, but we had a lot of supplements that we did because we'd catch them as they came in.
Yeah. Well, let's hope we don't incur that problem again.
Yeah.
Did that come from the Commissioner of Revenue?
Yes, ma'am.
That information?
It did. Mm-hmm.
Yes.
All right. Good job.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good luck.
Thank you.
And so you all might talk about that in Budget and Finance, about maybe looking at the date, making sure it's legal and everything.
Yeah, we'll take a
They'll
look.
talk about it. Next on the agenda is a presentation by Assistant Town Manager Elaine Holton on the Mount Rogers Planning District Commission Hazard Mitigation Plan.
Okay.
So tonight's presentation on hazard mitigation planning is for informational purposes only. The town council will not be required to take any action tonight. And I know we've already had a bit of a long meeting, so I'll go fairly quickly. The town of Wytheville approved the last hazard mitigation plan in April of 2019. We expect that the more recent 2024 draft version will receive FEMA approval later this month, and the Town Council of Wytheville, along with the other local government bodies in the Mount Rogers Planning District, will consider the final draft for adoption when it is available in the weeks ahead. So for tonight, I just wanted to give just an overall history of what it is so that when you see it later on an agenda item, you'll know what this is. So essentially, looking at the history of hazard mitigation planning, the Federal Disaster Mitigation Act of 2000 established a requirement for hazard mitigation planning across the United States. And since the year 2000, hazard mitigation plans have been drafted by local governments across the country to meet this federal requirement. Wytheville, Wythe County, and other localities in the Mount Rogers Planning District region have historically taken a regional approach to developing the regional hazard mitigation plan. And the hazard mitigation plan is used to identify hazards, assess community risks, and to describe actions or strategies to mitigate those risks. In order to remain eligible for emergency disaster relief funds and to qualify for grant assistance programs, such as the Hazard Mitigation Grant Program, the locality is required to adopt a hazard mitigation plan. And so essentially this evening, what I did was I just printed one that I thought I could just briefly pass around and you guys can thumb through it. I did earlier today send you an email with an electronic version. When this document comes back from FEMA, we will print you the adoptable version, but until that time, we're still waiting on FEMA's approval. And like I said, as soon as we get FEMA's approval to proceed, we will put this on as an action item on a future town council meeting agenda. So does anybody have any questions at this time? No? Okay.
Thank you, Ms. Holden.
Okay.
So next on the agenda is citizens period. And this was with the, what's the next person? The first one to sign in for citizens period is Mr. Shell. If you'll come up to the podium, state your name and your address, please, and try to talk into the mic. That would be great.
I'm Randy Shell, and I own the Oracle Books here in Wytheville, the bookstore. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak today. I really appreciate it. I know I came to this meeting, the last meeting you had back in October, or back, maybe in September. It's been like 4 weeks, I guess, since the last meeting, to talk about use of the farmers market for when they're closed as an event center for downtown Wytheville, where people can come in. They can put on an event, gives access to downtown. People be walking around downtown, spending their money, hopefully, and doing that. Now, the farmers market has been given complete control over whether or not they allow anybody to use the building. And they've made it very clear that they are not going to allow people to use that building other than the vendors who are there. Now, what they're saying is the vendors, which are mostly craft vendors at this point, especially during the wintertime, do not want to move their displays during the closed time. Now, that's 300 plus days a year. They don't want to move their displays to allow other people to use the building. Most of those are all craft vendors, not farmers markets. And what I'm asking is that we're allowed to use that building during times when the farmers market is not active. So it doesn't interfere with a single day or a single hour of normal farmers market a time that they use. Right now, for 300 days a year, it's basically a storage unit. I mean, that's what they're using it for, to store their stuff. And I think it's a real misuse of a public building that it can't be used for other things. And we've talked about doing some of these events that hopefully will bring people in from towns. I looked into perhaps doing one, which I'm still looking into, which is a book and music festival. And I had people from 4 states who were interested in coming and setting up displays and doing stuff. That brings a lot of revenue into the town. And the good part of this, it doesn't cost you guys any money. The building's already there. All you have to do is say, either set up a committee that will review when somebody wants to use the building. That's a fair and impartial committee that will decide what is the best public use of this space when the farmer's market is not using it. And that's really all I'm asking for. Now, I know the contract with them is a 5-year contract that gives a handful of people complete autonomy on how to use that building. I mean, basically, the public building now belongs to them. The public who is paying for it, by the way, is subsidizing this building. Can't use the building. Only the farmer's market can use it. And they've made it real clear they're not going to let anybody else use it. Now, I'd like to see that contract changed to allow an impartial committee who can sit here and decide if there's a better use, a better public use for that building that will generate not only income for the town, but also generate income for the people, all the stores and stuff. And we've seen a lot of new businesses opening up on downtown, on Main Street. And that's where we want to focus, having people walk around, having people spend their money, having people get hotels to where, if they're setting and somebody's looking at stuff. And I can tell you from book fairs and music festivals, usually there's one person or relationship that's really interested. The other one's going to give them about 15 minutes and they're going to say, well, I'm going to take the kids and go walk downtown while you shop. That's basically what's going to happen. That brings a lot of revenue to the town. I know, there was some questions about, does the With Bland Foundation help fund the building? Well, I know the With Bland Foundation is also funding a farmer's market in Rural Retreat. Rural Retreat, their town council, the first question they ask is, can we use that building for other things besides the farmer's market when the farmer's market's not active? And they were told, of course you can. Yes, please do. So that's what I'm asking us to do also. But our time is now running out. I know a month or so ago, I came and asked if you would send a letter to the farmer's market board to say, hey, we're looking at changing your contract at the end of the year. And I don't know that that's been done. Now we have a week. And all I'm asking at this point is to send a letter to them saying, hey, we're looking at making some changes to your contract. That gives you till the end of the year to decide exactly what those changes are going to be and how you want it to look for an impartial committee to look at that. It just seems like a win-win situation. No cost to the town, generates a lot of income for the businesses in town and for the town itself in terms of hotel tax, restaurant taxes, sales tax money. It brings a lot of attention here, and I would love to see that happen. I think the benefit to the public far outweighs the benefit to a handful of people, some of who aren't even Wytheville residents. And I would really love to do that. And I think, then we can even look at, we get some extra money for the town. It can be used for stuff like a splash pad for downtown Withers. Wouldn't that be nice? And we could do something like that. But I just find it hard to believe that there would be any opposition to using a public building to benefit the public here. I've talked to a lot of the businesses around town. I've talked to, Seven Sisters, the Millwall. I've talked to Pedals. I've talked to JoJo. I've talked to all these. Everybody thinks it's a great idea. Everybody's like, yeah, I think that would be great if we could use that building for other things. So I urge you to please act quickly. It takes 15 minutes to send them a notice saying you're going to change the rules. You're looking at changing the contract, and get a committee together that's actually going to talk about how we can do this and how we can make this happen. Wytheville's growing, and it's growing in a good way, and this would be a huge benefit for them. So thank you very much for giving me the opportunity to talk. And I implore you to please take action on this and in the future. Thank you very much.
Well, thank you.
Thank you.
I don't think there's anybody else signed up to speak at Citizens Time. Is there anybody out there that didn't put their name on here? Please come up, state your name and address, all that good stuff.
I just wanted to address a couple of points about the real estate taxes. The real estate taxes were based in December for people that took the standard or itemized deductions. And so it was coinciding with the annual basis. So presently, not many people take the itemized deductions. They take the standard deduction. In 2025, that law ends, and most people revert back to the standard deduction or the itemized deductions. So that's why the December is. And if you want to look at something that probably helps your citizens, if you will look at, there's a lot of, you don't see it as much in Virginia, but they will offer a discount for a 4 to 6 month period when you want to pay your taxes. And they'll discount it. And then, like if it's December, it'll be the whole tax, and then they add a little bit more for interest later on, so you're not giving up revenue.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Could you please state into the mic your name and address, please, sir?
Mr. Jones?
Just for the minutes, we need you to one more time speak your name and into the mic for the minutes.
Sam Jones.
Address.
Oh, 920 Wytheville Drive. Thank you.
sir.
So much. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. So seeing no more hands or hearing anything else, we're going to move forward. Is there anything under new business? All right. Reports of upcoming meetings by Town Clerk Gorgon.
Yes, I just have a few. The Town of Wytheville municipal offices will be closed and all services curtailed on Tuesday, November the 5th due to the election day. The Town of Wytheville municipal offices will be closed and all services curtailed on Monday, November 11th due to the Veterans Day holiday. And the next regular scheduled meeting of the Wytheville Town Council will be held on Tuesday, November 12th at 5 p.m. here in the council chambers. That's all I have, Madam Mayor.
All right, thank you very much. Next is council member time. Start with Mr. Gilman. Nothing?
Nothing at this time.
I got one little item. Just a reminder, back in May, we asked the management team of the Millwall Theater to furnish us a financial report. Well, we received that report via email this past week. So what I'd like to do is, I think it appropriate that this council review and have further dialogue with the management team of the Millwall and see what kind of financial state they're in. That's it.
Vice Mayor, are you talking about like just a work session?
Probably. Yeah. I know in the morning, Mr. Jones from the Millwall will give a report to the Budget and Finance. And I would like for him or someone from his committee to come before Town Council and further our conversation.
I think it'd be good if we all heard the same conversation.
I agree with you.
The same conversation.
I agree with you, ma'am.
But we can't be there tomorrow. Mr. Gilman and I can't be there tomorrow.
Understood. But I think if you all, I think I hear Kathy basically asking you all to set an agenda item for them to be here. So if you all want to see that on your next agenda, that's fine.
Yeah. I'm just reminding us that we said we would bring them back before council before the end of the year, and they've agreed to do that. And I want this council to have more dialogue.
And that's more than fine, Vice Mayor. But I thought I may have misunderstood. I thought you said they were coming to the Budget and Finance.
They are coming
That's correct.
to the Budget and Finance in the morning. However, I'm going to ask him to come before council.
Okay.
Yeah.
But my reply is, I think all council needs to hear the whole conversation, and not just, but, okay. I don't guess I'm making myself clear.
I understand
what she wants
wait
to
a minute,
say
wait a minute.
is
Let me say
that
what
they
I want
need to
say.
address council all at the same time and not in Budget and Finance. Everybody all at the same time, so everybody gets the same story all at the same time.
I don't think that's too much to ask. If the council is making a financial decision, I think it needs to be heard exactly verbatim. That's just my opinion.
And
I understood
They will be
You
glad to do
understood?
that, I'm
If
sure.
that was clear or not, I'm sorry.
So they are already scheduled to come to,
They already scheduled to come.
for
But
different
if the
reasons?
council doesn't want them to come, I'll call them again.
For different reasons or?
No,
Same
just
reason?
give us an
So the
overview.
committee, but whatever you all want to do. If you all don't want the committees to hear from them, then they don't have to.
But that's council's decision.
That's what I just said.
I just would like council to hear the whole conversation. Because I know you said Mr. Jones is coming and someone else may come to pub. I just would like everyone, I would like to be everybody to be on the same page. I don't think that's too much to ask.
And I totally agree with you, Ms. Atkins. And if you don't want them to come to meet with budget in the morning, we'll send an email tonight and say, don't come.
I just think we all need to hear the same conversation. I'm sorry. That's just me.
Fine with me.
There's 1, 2, or 3 people that like for that not to happen tomorrow.
That's fine. I mean, that's just my, that's just me. I'm sorry, but I would just like us all to hear this whole conversation.
Well, I personally trust both committees that everybody's on, because I don't get to hear most of it anyway until later. So I trust both committees that when they're talking about something that it will be shared equally and whatnot. And that's why we have our committees, so that we can that. But I will do whatever council votes on.
And Mayor Taylor, it's nothing against trust. It's not that I just feel it needs to be a fair and equal opportunity, that we all need to hear the same thing.
Mayor Taylor, staff would be happy to correspond to the folks from the Millwall and ask them to come to a future agenda. It sounds like that's what the council prefers. So thank you for that. We're happy to accommodate that wish.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. All right. Before I forget, but we'll come back to your other thing because I forgot it. So we're still on council member time, and I just had somebody approach me just to let council know that the Governor's Southwest Virginia Summit that is going to be here in town in the next couple of days, they had mentioned, and they wanted all of council to know that they have been very pleased with the meeting center and everything that they've asked them to accommodate them with. And they just thought it was really good. And this was nobody from the meeting center that contacted me. So that's just a FYI. And I don't have anything else. Ms. Atkins?
There's a few things I have. Curb and guttering, I know that I've mentioned a couple times in the 1300 block of West North Street. Mentioned it a couple years ago, and then I think I mentioned about 4 months ago. And
Would you like me to put that on the council agenda, or can a committee review that?
actually, I thought that maybe it was whatever you choose to do, Mr. Green.
I'm not sure if that's so.
But when I just asked to be looked at before, I thought it was.
I'm
sort of
just
looked
asking if
into,
you would prefer it to be on a.
Can I finish?
Sure.
Thanks. Okay, and then also at the curb and guttering at Franklin and 3rd Street, I believe Public Works has looked at it before. The lady just asked maybe if it could be looked at. Didn't know if I know we had talked about maybe volunteer days for the employees. Any updates on that?
Volunteer days?
Well, like if they wanted to go out and serve in the community or do something, didn't know where we were on that.
I'd be happy to put that on a council agenda.
Okay, that'd be good. And also, I know I had talked about before informational TVs for the departments.
No update.
And also a different layout. I think we've all talked about this council, a different layout for the council chambers. Just didn't know where we were on that.
When you say a different layout, what are we talking about? I mean, is that something that everybody,
yes, ma'am. We've talked about it before. Yes, ma'am.
Well, I mean, I've heard some dialogue, but I don't know if we've, as a group, have agreed on.
Oh no, I didn't know agree. I just didn't know if there was still discussion on it. I do have a great compliment on the paving job there on Pine Street. I know there were several complaints about it before, but it's like perfect. It's almost like there's not even a dent in it. And let's see. And the bike racks.
Rex is on a future agenda item.
And I think, okay, and I didn't know if there's some concern about some dipping in the road there on Monroe and 4th Street across from the old jail right there at the light. Like if you're going out towards Food City, there's a hump. I don't know if that can be looked at, fixed. I know what, like probably the timing and light. I don't know exactly, but I know it's a little unlevel. So just didn't know. But other than that, I think I'm done.
Did you want to say something, Mr. Freeman, before we move?
No.
Johnson, do you have anything?
Yes, I do. I have a question. So, Councilmember Tom, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, this is a time for us to address issues that have been brought to our attention by citizens. Am I correct?
But that's what it is evolved into, because previously we had work sessions, and that's when that would come about. So I guess when we get everything together at this time, so that's what that is. Yes.
Okay, so
and that's what we've made it to be for us.
All right. So in reality, we are addressing issues from citizens.
Right.
Okay. So there really shouldn't be any kind of, I don't know what to call it, any kind of, I'm not going to go there, but I understand it to be that.
And I
am a councilwoman that sits here for the citizens, and I will bring concerns if they need to be brought, and I don't want pushback. Period. I work for the citizens of this town. And if they have something that they want to be brought before council, I think I was sent an email on how we look at each other, and I don't like the looks that have been given this evening because of concerns that have been brought before council. And if I need to go back and find that in my email, I will. But when it comes to the citizens of this town, we sit here to do a job and to take care of them. So if things need to be addressed, if things need to be changed, if things need to be fixed, that's what I'm going to address. So I hope everybody's clear on that. I work for the citizens. So now I'm going to go and address some things that I would like to address for the citizens. I had a complaint about Holston Road. We go and we send out people to mow if people's yards are not in compliance. And all the bushes and the stuff that's grown up on Holston Road, if that is our responsibility, it needs to be taken care of. Are we going to have a reveal for the veterans banners? Or are we just going to put them up?
It's first I've heard of a reveal.
I'm asking a question.
Would you like
I didn't
one?
ask if you first heard of it. I asked, are we going to have a reveal? That's
the first I've heard of a reveal. I don't have a reveal planned. If you all would like a reveal plan, then you need to make that known. The answer is
we don't have one.
I don't want to have one planned.
Okay.
And you've been on that committee, and this is the first I've
That's
heard
all.
of it.
Either we do have one planned or we don't.
We do not.
Thank you. That's all I have.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
And wait, I do thank you. I do appreciate you bringing up the council member, because that's what I understood it too. If people bring up concerns, that's when I thought, and I apologize if I'm wrong, but I thought that's when we did it. Anyway.
But there are a lot of concerns, which we've done before and we can still do, is you bring that to administration in between meetings and just say, you know, so-and-so called me today, and you send it to Mr. Spraker, you send it to whoever. And then that way, you know, it can get attention.
Right. And I have done that. And I was under the assumption there may be a list, but at least the two now are on the list. And I appreciate that, Mr. Anderson. Thank you.
Good, we'll move forward. I did skip an item, so we're going to go ahead and do that now. And we're going to have a review of the current vacancies in the town committees or boards or authorities.
Yes, ma'am, Madam Mayor. We have several vacancies on the town committees and boards. You'll have a list in front of you through the end of the year. We currently have vacancies on the Board of Zoning Appeals, the Joint Industrial Development Authority, the Recreation Commission, the Wytheville Economic Development Authority, the Wytheville Redevelopment and Housing Authority, and the Wytheville Tree Committee. So if anyone would like to apply for any of those committees, you can do it on the town's website through the OpenGov portal, or you can contact my office.
Thank you. Ms. Corbin, I do have one question, and I'm pretty sure I know the answer, but do they have to live in town? Is that recommended to live in town?
Yes, ma'am. They normally appoint town citizens, but if we can't find anyone, then sometimes we'll go out in the county.
Okay, so try to find someone that lives in town.
Yes,
'cause
ma'am.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you.
Live in town, that's good.
So next on the agenda is a closed meeting that the town council feels like it needs to go into a closed meeting pursuant to 2.2-3711A7, a consultation with legal counsel regarding actual or probable litigation regarding the 20th Street Bridge, and 2.2-3711AA, consultation with legal counsel regarding the possibility of purchasing a utility easement. I'll need a motion from council. I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye as well. So council will now go into closed session. Does council need a 5-minute break?
Please.
The 5 All right, council now finds it necessary to come out of closed meeting. It's necessary to reconvene into open session by stating that the town council is now in open session. A motion is necessary to certify that only matters lawfully convening in the open session were discussed. I need a motion. I have a motion. Do I have a second? I have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? All right, hear none. This would be a roll call vote.
Johnson, aye.
Atkins, aye.
Taylor, aye.
Webster, aye.
Gilman, aye.
All right, so we're now officially in open session. Do we want to open the doors real quick? And do we have anything else on the agenda before we close this evening? All right, hearing none. We are officially convened.